Thank you so much. So, yeah, just to maybe a quick recap of what we did earlier. It was just a reminder of what we once went through the I think it was last 2 weeks back about the four waves of feminism, and we actually were reading more, especially about first wave and second wave, and the emphasis was upon the second wave and the victories that actually they managed to win, and the progress they managed to have. And we see when it's actually coming to its end, second wave, we see um, from there also now a rejection or a backlash taking place, uh, both male and female, no longer wanting to hold on to the principles that actually kept together or made the victories to be a success. So, yeah, we looked at that, and uh, 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 the other thing that we did, we read from we read the former High Commissioner, Michelle. She was actually speaking, and I did not go throughout that the speech that she was making. She's making very good points and eye-opening points when we are actually speaking about human rights, when we speak about the 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 regression that is taking place of the rights of women, rights in of races, like any human rights are actually being violated today, and we are not seeing much progress as um, progress, even though progress was there, but it was with hiccups, but it was progress nevertheless. But now, instead of progress, we are seeing a, a regression, like a going back, um, that is actually taking place. And it's quite frightening when you look at that, and you look at that the next waymark we are heading to, it's actually the Sunday law. And okay, there's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to state it as a fact because of the presentations have been done on what I'm just going to say. It's like when you go back to 1863, the issue of slave, the issue of in the United States of race. You see also there, you have the rights of people being stripped away from them, and the government is acting in a way that they can, they have this right to give the Black people the right, and they can take them away. Like you have that kind of like scenario, but you have still there, you have the violation of the rights of people. Um, and we see that it's between a Black person and a white person. A white person is acting superior, uh, and a white person is dictating what should and what should not happen. And so in general, in simple terms, you can just you see the violation of the rights of humans in that history. And you get to the 1888 history, you see a similar thing taking place, where you have a government that wants to legislate laws that are going to um, prohibit other people, right? And the laws also that are going to give people um, things like ID cards, for example, if I make this example, like the 1888 history, you look at what is happening, A.T. Jones fighting for his at the courts, like, and the arguments of what the government is saying is that, look, as a government, uh, as a nation that is a Christian nation, we want to legislate and we want to make laws that are actually going to make a Sunday to be a day of rest. And when you look at A.T. and then they ask A.T. Jones, will it be fair then if we make you the Sabbath as the day of legislation, as the day of rest, and then that's where the argument, and then you see A.T. Jones going to and fro us saying that no, even though you make Saturday or Sabbath the day of worship, it's still wrong because of it violates the rights of other people, and because of you have now the government dictating what should and what should not happen to those people. So I'm just going to say that in that simple terms, but you see that you have a government that wants to take away the rights of people and giving them back again as as a gift. You see, so you have that even in the 1888 history. When you come to our history, you can be able to see also that you have the rights of women are being LGBTQ women. When we speak about gender, but I'm just going to use women inclusively to also speak about the LGBTQ community. When you see the rights of women being attacked, being stripped away, and you see governments, just not in the United States, but globally, are beginning to rise up against the rights that they are supposed to be protecting, and making sure that women are not having those rights. It's quite alarming because of it does not help us to go or to move to a better future, but it shows what the future holds for us if we see the current condition that as humans we are actually facing, especially women. So yeah, that's the issue when we look at where we are heading to as the Sunday law waymark that is before us, and the progressive steps that have led to this point where we are in history. Marking from 2001, we see the shift in human rights laws, we see a shift, the setback progressively gaining momentum to the present day. And we know or we understand that actually we usually we say, you know, Donald Trump, is the embodiment of the Sunday law. So I want to ask people that when we say that Donald Trump, he is the embodiment of the Sunday law, what do we actually mean? What exactly are we saying?
What is it?
Okay, so there's 9 of us, so at least we'll go through this easily. So I'm gonna start at the bottom and go. Okay, let me start from the top. Let me start from the bottom so that I can get to Xolani quicker. So I'm gonna start with Deborah. When we say Donald Trump, he is the embodiment of the Sunday law. I hope that you have came across what Elder Tess once shared, speaking about Donald Trump being the embodiment of the Sunday law. What does that actually mean when we say Donald Trump is the embodiment of the Sunday law? Deborah, I'm going to start with you.
Please repeat the question.
Oh, should I repeat the question? The question is, what do we mean, or what does it mean when we say that actually Donald Trump, he is the embodiment of the Sunday law?
I didn't get clear the question, please. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you repeat the question? It's not clear to me.
Okay, yeah,
I think you're using very deep English. Not sure what does embodiment mean. Maybe if you can explain that.
Okay, yeah. I will come to that. Okay, let's skip Deborah. I will come to Deborah after. Deborah, I'll come to you after I have explained what does the embodiment mean. I don't want to explain it yet. I want people to answer it first. So I'm gonna start with Xolani. What does when we say Donald Trump is the embodiment of the Sunday law, what do we mean? Xolani, did you get my question?
Oh, Thato?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm struggling with the network a bit. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I can try though. So
yes,
believe,
no answer is wrong.
Okay. Seeing Donald Trump is the embodiment, I think he has a part to act in the law.
Okay.
We know power that he did, which is the equality that should be there, especially on the rights. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Okay. So what I got from you, Xolani, is that he's got a part to act, and other parts I did not hear, but it was, if I can just summarize, is that Donald Trump, he's got a part to act, or his character, or no, but what Donald Trump stood for, it has a part to act on the Sunday law. Is it right?
Yes, yes.
All right. I will come with Tebisile Kajeni. I wrote the question on the Zoom platform, on the chat as well. If you're not sure, you can just say I'm not sure, and then we move forward. Temsile? Okay. Thato Mashego?
I still want you to explain embodiment.
I can't. Okay, 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 no problem.
No, I don't want to. I don't know. Like as much as I want to understand, embodiment, so that even when I answer, I'm sure with my answer.
All right, no problem. Shamisa, I know you got you. We did come across that statement, and she once said it also on the presentation, and then it just like captured me constantly, and I began to search more. What does this actually mean? So I know we have came across Shamisa.
Okay, let me try. um, I think also how Donald Trump views women. I remember Elder Tess talking about him attacking women, journalist women, and say, journalist women, and also that when we see even in the time of the end, we see him participating in the beauty pageants and all that. So Mina, the way I understood embodiment is that it's like a new idea, that comes to place. I'm done.
Thato.
Thank you, Shamisa. Yes, Thato.
Okay, I can try
Okay.
with just understanding embodiment is like a representation. Ne? Can I use that word?
Yes.
It's like a representation of, he represents what the Sunday law is like about. Ne? So
Yes.
so Trump he really fits all the ideology of what the Sunday law is about. Because if we can see from when Trump was elected to when Trump was president, everything that he did, it really gives that image to what like the Sunday law represent, even his belief, people he attracted, the way he came into power, you know, him being sexist, uh, yeah, that like everything that Trump is like represents like the I don't know, yeah, he's like the perfect image of like the Sunday law and everything that like the Sunday law represent. Even like the judges he elected, and what they represent as well. So even the culture that Trump uh, has, yeah. So I think that's it.
Thank you, Thato. You see?
That's right.
You see? Yeah, answers are coming. Thank you, Shamisa. Thank you, Kalani. Thank you, Thato. We are coming to who's next? Thato, Shamiso. Roxanne Oduro, can you please answer the question that I asked? Hello, Roxanne?
Yeah, bro.
Yes, can you hear? Did you get the question?
No, I just done it now. So I didn't
Okay,
hear
you
the
can't.
question.
Oh, so the question, okay, I will just ask the question again to those who just joined us. The question it was how where is that question now? Okay, I sent the question on the, I'm gonna send it. I send it again on the Zoom platform. Read it, and then I'll come back to you again, Roxanne.
Okay.
Yeah, read that question and then think about it. I will come back to you again. So we have, okay, now we are on Rasedi. 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 Okay. Number.
Trump is the embodiment of Sunday law. What does?
Roxanne, you can mute for now. We will come back to you. So, yeah, number. Did you get the question, Rasedi? Nokukanya?
I didn't get the question, Thato, but I just heard Thato's answer. So as I assumed you asked why Trump is the embodiment of the Sunday law.
Yes.
Is it something like that?
Yes, Mtasaka.
I think it's actually what you said. I have a sport brain, forgive me. If you see Messi, you think soccer. If you see Trump, he is the face of the Sunday law because he embodies everything that is involved with the Sunday law. He is the face of the Sunday law. That's how I say it. Thank you.
The face of the Sunday law. Thank you so much. Lindy. Lindy, did you get the question? Thank you, no Kanya. Okay, can you Vuya? Coach? Okay, Karabo. We can hear you well.
Which one was? Oh, okay. No, I think Nami, I was just saying, I'm with Thato and Nukai and what others have said is like a representative, you know, like I think Kanye put it very well, the face of the Sunday law. I mean, I was just going to throw in another word lap and say the figurehead of the Sunday law. When you see Trump, you see the Sunday, he's like the human face.
Okay.
Those, yeah. Sum it well.
So, okay. Okay, thank you, Karabo. Bongi?
Hello.
Yes, Bongi.
Yeah, I think his attributes and his character is represents Sunday law. So it is from him that you can be able to see how the Sunday law is going to look like. Because of his character traits or his attributes.
Okay, thank you. Dore, today you're the last one. I did not start with you.
I think everyone has already, the answers they've been given really are, they've taken everything out of my mouth. I would say that if you look at 1989, when the first angel's message arrives, that message is raised up to warn the world that the Sunday law is coming. So from 1989, we were preaching that message, the Sunday law is coming, the Sunday law is coming. In fact, the Sunday law for the priests came in 2014, even though we were not aware that it was happening. But when we come to 2016, in the election of Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton and the politics that led up to that election of Donald Trump and him becoming the president, the man that is as sexist as he is and aligned with the Republican Party and all the efforts of the moral majority building up to this moment is when this message becomes crystallized. In other words, now, as people have said, now we have a face. Now we have a mindset. We have a philosophy that is going to back up the restriction of the human rights, the restriction of the liberties of a certain group of people. And in this case, we are talking about women. And so Trump then represents the achievement of that effort that begins in 1989 externally to bring about this restriction, but also to bring to fulfillment the message that started in 1989 to say that the Sunday law is coming. Because now, because of Donald Trump and because he became president, we are certain that the Sunday law is indeed coming as would have been announced in 1989.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for all those answers. Yeah, thank you so much for those answers. So, when you look at the answers you have given, and what kind of a parable, what kind of a mod, or what parable is it that which we can draw out of what just the word embodiment actually says to us? Okay, I'll start from the top, but I'll maybe ask you, D. Okay, no, let me not ask D. Number. When we say there's a parable that is actually been given, you see, and it's actually what kind of a parable is it that actually we can see or we can draw out of this when we just speak about the word embodiment, like Trump being the embodiment of the Sunday law? Number. Rossetti. Garabo.
Angazi kakuhle Ntasi, kodwa I'm thinking the king and the kingdom, is that what you're looking for?
No, let me lead your mind. Let me lead your mind in this way. We say Donald Trump, right? He is the face of the Sunday law. When you read when you go through the definition of embodiment, it's actually a figurehead or a representation of something that we don't like. We don't know the Sunday law. We cannot see the Sunday law. You see, but this figure actually represents something that actually it's not. What kind of a parable is that?
I can't really because perhaps someone else has it. Me, I don't have it for now.
D. Doreen?
Sorry,
Thato.
I thought my mic was on. I've not.
Okay.
Are you looking for a parable?
Yeah, it's a it's a just simple answer. It's not a difficult one.
Oh,
It's like it's a parable that we know, but when we just read the terms like been given, like he is the image of the Sunday law, so he stands for something that is not there. What kind of a parable is that?
I guess it's said you're saying something.
Raseri?
Hi, Tato, can I try?
Yes, please.
Is it natural and spiritual that the Sunday law we don't really know what it means, but when we look at the natural thing, when we look at something that we can see Donald Trump, we can see the Sunday law that we don't know exactly how it looks like, but when we look at Trump, we can see the natural. He represents something that we can see, that we know.
Yes. Okay, yes, thank you, Shamisa. Thank you so much. D, you wanted to say, and Rasedi? Thank you so much, Shami.
No, I do want to say. I was just making reference to Rasei something.
Okay. Or Rasedi, you wanted to say something?
Rasedi, are you in? Rasedi keeps being kicked out. So
Oh, okay. Okay, Tato, what did you wanted to say something?
No, I think now I got it. Shamisa just had to give a click, but when you were asking it, yo, I couldn't understand.
Pestule. Okay, yeah, no, that's the thing. Pestule. Yeah, thank you so much, Tato. Yeah, that's actually what I just wanted to I'm sorry about that. There's Kumdan. So yeah, so yeah, we can see like yeah, I just wanted us to see that, you see, and we can be able now to because of all that took place in 2014. I know we marked 2014 as the turning point, right? And Donald Trump would not have been there if it was not of 2014, if I can just put it in that way. And you have the leading up to January the 6th, and like you can be able to even go further and trace it back from 1989, but we can see the developments that are actually taking place, and we see how did we get to the election of Donald Trump, even why are actually many within all these groups that he represented, because of when you look at like the men's right movement, when you look at the racist groups that are there, and you look at the nationalistic groups that are there, you look at all this. Also, when you look at the sexist groups that are there, you look at all these groups, and these groups, Donald Trump was actually their voice, and others that I did not mention. But you see that he was their voice in the White House. And they actually, they were happy. They were not just the voices screaming down there at the bottom and nobody's listening to. They had a voice now inside the White House. And when you look at the evangelicals, when they speak about family values, they knew that they had what? They had a voice in the White House. Their voices was not just there at the bottom, was not just a voice that nobody could hear, but they had a voice that everybody could hear and they could see what he was actually doing. Did I lose anybody with that?
Understood.
Okay, so I wanted to the topic that I actually, it's, we will come back to this and as we continue, like, but then I just wanted this 2016, the election of Donald Trump, and the understanding of him being the embodiment of the Sunday law, and seeing there, especially with maybe the focus, my focus, especially on men's right movement, the men's right movement being the umbrella of many sexist uh, uh, groups and men that are actually affiliated with the men's right movement. But I wanted if we can be able to see it in Donald Trump, and then we can be able to see the 4 years that Trump had in presidency, and how much these people became louder and louder and louder, and the impact that actually has been done. But we want to trace it, I want to trace back the history of men's right movement. So that's what I would just love to do. And probably I will, I would come to this and then connect it and then make a point. Yeah, I'll make that point. So we know that we have the left wing and the right wing, right? And then you have the centrist. And we speak about the men's right movement. You have atheism, you have libertarians, and we speak about this trinity being within the right wing spectrum of within the right wing spectrum. And we know that men's right movement is actually opposing feminism, right? And so that's what actually made me to want to know more actually. And then I began to go through the incels, why so many men are actually are happy to commit violence towards women. It is because of the ideology they get from the incel movement. But then we wanted to understand the incel movement so that we may not misdiagnose it. But we got to understand that actually it's not, if we coin it or we give it its rightful name, it's actually a misogynist incel movement. You see that? And yeah, and we wanted to understand their ideology, and we understand their ideology. It's actually taken from the male supremacist ideology. So when you look at the racist skin-headed ideology, you can compare and contrast it with this idea of male supremacist. And if I can put it in this term, it's all about men being the head and the woman being the tail, men being the superior and women being the inferior. And they seeing that women are actually speaking back. Women are actually fighting for their rights, and they see that as a threat to their control that they have upon women. And when women are actually going to work, when women are actually pursuing careers, when women are actually um, standing up, they see that as a threat because of um, they cannot control them as they pleases. So it's the male supremacist ideology is that if you uh, 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 talking does not solve it, then the violence must actually solve it. Violence in which way is that if women they don't succumb to the tricks of men as they have been approached, and uh, 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 then you need to resort to then forcing yourself to to the girl. So it's within just those lines where you can be able to see um, this male supremacist ideology. I know there's many things as well there, and even when you look at the misogynistic incel movement, there's a lot of things and many ideas that uh, we can be able to say that as men we have learned or we have actually we have practiced them. So yeah, so we speak about first wave. It actually started in 1848, right? And like we said in the morning, they were fighting for the right to vote. But when you get to the men's rights movement, it actually started in 1856, and this was actually a yeah. Let me just get my book. This was actually a backlash um, against the men's rights. So men's right was used as early as February 1856. It was a response to the issue. Like the issue was women were actually speaking about, they were actually fighting for their rights. So this was the response of men by forming this movement of the men's right MRM, men's right movement. So it was um, a counter movement. So you look at 1886, you have Ernest Belt Bucks was men's right advocate, and then he wrote the League of Subjection of Men, and that's what you can see. So you begin to see these voices that are actually standing up, and as they are standing up, they stand up to resist what actually women are actually fighting for, or they are actually it's the opposite. Yeah, it's the opposite. So women will be saying this, and then there will be a movement that is rising up that will be going against what actually women are actually fighting for. So you have that in 1886, starting from 1856, and we so okay. Let me not. Okay, so when you come to the 1920s, we see that actually we mark that, or it's marked within the document that we were sharing, that the first wave is within this time period from 1848 to the 1920s. So when you look at that, you understand that this is the time period that Ellen White would be living in, right? And um, and yeah, she will be living within this time period, and there will be these other things, these men as well that will be fighting as well in this within this history, countering this the first wave. And in Australia, so it moved from from the shores of the United States, and then it spread. Like when you in Australia, you have the League of Men's Right, also been formed in 1926. It was with a goal to combating all excess of women, the emancipation that was taking place, um, that was taking place in Australia. So this group, or this League for Men's Right, actually rose up to counter the emancipation of women. Right? Yeah. And when you get to 1927, you have a Justinian League for Family Law Reform, and you have a Aguieta World League of Men's Right, and with you have those two groups, right? And those two groups, you have a split taking place within this aggregators. The name is very hard to pronounce it. Let me just quickly write the name. It's AU GUIT AS. So from this aggregators league, actually, what happened is that men within this group were split into two. This is happening in 1927. And so the three groups opposed to women's entry into the labor market, and that they saw as a corrosive influence of the women's movement on social and legal institution, right? So within this group, you have two groups, and then you have this. My market's fading away. Justinia. Oh, Justicia, and that's Justicia. I think it is, but it's JUSTITIA. So both these terms, actually, when I look at them, they actually mean justice. You see that? So you have these groups within the justice that within the that are actually how can I put it, that are actually saying that they are fighting for justice, you see. But whose justice? The justice for men, you see. And they are going to counteract all the women's movement on social and legal institutions. So that's what they are going to do. They are going to counter those movements, like the progress that will be made by women under in social and legal institution. They were against family, and they were against marriage and family law, spousal and child support. So, like, for example, men will be actually told to pay the the like they need to take care of their children, and they will be so. Yeah, I hope you just get the concept behind these institutions that which they were actually fighting for. They were fighting for against the progress that was taking place, like in the social structure and legal institutions. So you have Justia and well, like I said, it's a Latin concept of justice, and what actually women are fighting for. They want equality, and yeah, they are actually fighting for equality within these institutions as well, like uh, within the social structure, if we can just say that, and that's one of the things. So when you look at, they they issued their own short-lived journals, men's rights newspapers, and self-defense were there and expressed their views. So even back then, you have places where they are actually going to voice out their grievances, where they are going to be writing about their grievances, where they are actually going to make other people know of what their grievances are. Like, for example, when you look at today you have forums and you have platforms where men are able to gather and be able to speak about their grievances, right? And share their views on women. And some of those forums, you see them today when we speak about 1989 being the rise, or when we speak about World Wide Web, we see those platforms within the internet sector being developed. So the platforms today that we have of men's right, they are using the modern day platforms. Back then, they used their modern day platforms, which were actually newspapers, for example, like I said, and uh, yeah, newspapers and self-defense. Yeah. So today you have these online communities that are actually going to uh, continue with the culture of speaking about their grievances towards women. So this is actually 1927, where you have this leagues beginning to rises up even in other places, not just in the United States. And when you look at 1970, we mark 1970 as a turning point, not a turning point, but many things actually happened in 1970. One of those things, you have the rise of modern day men's right movement. And in short, the modern day men's right movement, it is actually built within the image. You're going to They see what is taking place under second wave feminism, and they see that, and then they are mobilizing based on what actually they are seeing. You see that. So these people, they mobilized here because of what they saw. And the men's right, the modern day men's right, they are going to mobilize based on what they are actually seeing taking place. You see that. So obviously, when they rise up in simple terms against all these progresses, all the progress that has been made. They are rising up with against the against what actually women are actually winning. Yes. So there are many things that we can be able to highlight in 1970 is that you have the men's liberation movement that acknowledged men's institutionalized power, while orientically examining the consequences of hegemonic masculinity. And they believing that both men and women have suffered from the patriarchal society, right? So you have this liberation movement that actually it's in this time period, and they are acknowledging what is actually taking place, and then they see the impact and the role that patriarchy has had on them. And within this time period, 1970, when you get to the latter days of 1970s, in the 1970s, is that this movement, it's gonna the men's right movement, it's going to split into two, and you are going to have a group that is going to be pro feminism, and that will be it will be pro feminism, which it's a pro feminism men's movement, and you're going to have an anti feminist men's movement that is going to be formed here. And the pro feminism, they acknowledge what patriarchy has done, and they actually wanted, or they fought for, they fought with the second wave feminism, if I can just put it in that way. So they saw what yeah, men and women, they need to be equal. Men and women needs to be educated. The law against marital rape should actually be there. You see, so you see in 1970 you have the two groups here, and one is pro feminism, one is anti-feminism. So that's what you can be able to see in 1970. So pro embraced feminism, feminist ideas, and actively advocated for female equality, and anti-feminist actually articulated an on-stage yearning for the pre-urban or pre-industrial tradition, which is actually they longed for the time that is actually before 1970. They longed for a time where patriarchy was held dear. So that's what anti-feminism actually they fought for in the 1970s. So I think the same yearning they had in 1970 is the same yearning that even today men still have, because of they are just longing for patriarchy, and the patriarchal system is just the taking away of a woman as a person, and it's just all about men. That's what patriarchy is all about. And so we see clearly two opposing sides. So as men in in this movement, this is not a woman's problem or issue, but it is a human issue. So even when we can take that and look at it within even the context of the movement, is that when you have Okarabo, you have Utolani, you have people, men who will be standing up and saying, this is not actually a woman's issue alone. This is a problem that we need to solve as a people. We need to be able to stand up and say and resist against those who want to perpetuate or continue yeah. So that's what God is for. He wants us to stand up for the rights of women, and as they are also raising their voices, we need to join our voices together with theirs so that the voice can be even much louder. So yeah, and I know Doreen would she likes pointing this out, and it is so clear when we see it from that angle as well and that perspective, that when you go back to 19 the history of slavery, we black people, they were not to voice out only alone, but they had white people there voicing out and speaking for against what was actually being done. You see that. So when we compare and contrast those two the two histories, we can be able to see what our role is. It is just to join hands with women and fight for the good cause. So yeah, let me not chow time. I think my time is up. So next time I'll probably continue with 1970 coming to our time and coming back to the points that actually I want to make and continue. So I'm sorry, I know my studies, I never get to finish my studies, and I don't know why, but it's bad. So yeah, that's I will just hold it here, and then if is there any question, addition? And my phone is gonna switch off as well. Shamiso?
Hi, Thato.
Hi, Shami.
Thank you for the study. It was clear.
Okay. Okay. Now we can close with a word of prayer. My phone is gonna switch off. I don't have electricity. So shall we close with a word of prayer? We are praying, our kind and loving God. We thank you so much for your grace and your mercy. We thank you, Lord, for the time which you have given us to be able to study. And may we continue to go back and study those presentations that have been done and make our own research and see how and why we are here the way Singer Corner. We ask that, please, oh God, continue to guide us and lead us. Bless all the people in this movement, and may you heal the hearts that are actually broken. May you heal every woman in this place, and may you heal every man as well, especially women, oh God. May they see the Savior's love, and as well may we see the Savior's love and come together and be one and be of one mind and one body, one unity, one everything, oh God, as we progress and go to the Sunday law. Please, oh God, guide us now and forgive us where we have erred. In Jesus' name, amen.